What's good, R&B Squad? This is Autumn Ruth. I trust that this message meets you guys in good spirits. If you are new to this family, we don't believe that you're here by accident. Welcome. We're happy to have you. And Jesus is, of course, always happier. The word that I have today is a kingdom marriage word. And as you listen to the details, you will know whether or not this word is for you. Please eat the meat, spit out the bone, take what's for you, and leave the rest. Now, this word has been in my spirit for a few days, and I'm very pleased to deliver it to you today. And while it is a time of celebration for you, for those of you whom this word is for, it is also a time of caution. So I'm going to also be delivering a cautionary word alongside the kingdom marriage word. Now let me get right in. So for some of you, you feel like the promise of marriage is dead. You feel like the promise of marriage is dead because you're in one of the following situations. You're either separated from your God-ordained partner and things keep going from bad to worse with the two of you. Maybe you were in communication with them and now you're not communicating with them at all. For others of you, you feel like the promise of marriage is dead in your life because you have been isolated for so long. You do not socialize and you feel like there's no way that you're ever going to even meet someone, let alone get married. So regardless of which one of those two situations you are in, the common denominator is that you feel as though the promise of marriage that was spoken over your life so long ago is never going to happen. So at the beginning of this, when the Lord first spoke the promise over your life, you felt like you were standing in a room full of light, full of sunlight. And slowly but surely, you started to see that light turn to darkness. You couldn't see the daylight anymore. You couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. It only seemed like you were sinking into this dark, dark place where you were sad and you felt hopeless. And that's where you're at right now. You feel like the promise is dead. Well, I'm here to say to you, the Lord said to tell you that the promise is not dead. It's very much alive. You are still going to get married. In the same way Isaac still came, even when Sarah and Abraham thought he wouldn't. The promise is still going to come to fruition. It is still going to happen, even though you think it's not. Even though all signs point to it being dead, it is very much alive and it is going to come to pass. The vision is yet for an appointed time. Now, the other part of this message is there are those of you who are going to go from the position that you're in right now, where you're not even speaking to your God-ordained partner and you're in separation, or you never even met your God-ordained partner. You're going to come from that situation where nobody else around you could see any evidence of the promise of marriage to people now becoming aware of it. I heard the words coming out, and I was reminded, I may be wrong, I may not have this accurately, but I was reminded of the instances in royal families and royal circles where somebody has a coming out period and they're introduced to the world as somebody who's ready for courtship. And if you know more about that, you can let me know, but that is what was put in my spirit. So it's like your relationship or your relationship status is now going to be public knowledge. People are now going to find out about it. So before, you were the only one who knew that God spoke this promise over you. Now people are going to find out. Now it's going to be out in the open because people are going to be seeing evidence of it in the natural. And I was reminded of the Song of Solomon. Now, in the Song of Solomon, the Shulamite maiden and her beloved, there was a period of time where nobody knew about their love. Them and God were the only three individuals who knew about their love. And then eventually people started to see. People started to find out that they meant something to each other. But here's the thing. When people started to find out that they meant something to each other, that's when trouble was introduced. Because that always happens. The minute people find out about something valuable, something precious, they will try to pilfer it in one way or the other. So when people start to find out, be on your guard, because that's when you're going to experience some opposition. Some of you already have experienced opposition from the enemy himself. And so you're not a stranger to experiencing opposition when it comes to this promise. That, in fact, was practice for what it's going to be like from time to time when you come into union with this person that God has for you. So the Lord is saying, in essence, The promise that you think is dead, the promise of marriage that he spoke over your life that you currently think is dead, it is not dead. It is still very much alive. And people on the outside will now start to see evidence of that promise coming to pass. But when that happens, be careful, because not everyone is going to be a well-wisher. So it's like you now have permission to go public with your promise. And again, take this word back to God. Make sure that you know what season you're in. Make sure you know that this word is for you. And that's the message. I hope that this message blessed someone. I love you guys. I will be back with another word as soon as the Lord releases me. Take care.